Top 25 tips on saving money and using credit cards. Having a proper understanding of how something works is absolutely essential before you begin using it. Credit cards are no different. If you haven't learned a thing or two about what to do, what to avoid, and how your credit affects you, then you need to sit back, see the remainder of this video and get the facts. A great tip for saving on today's high gas prices is to get a reward card from the grocery store where you do business. These days, many stores have gas stations as well and offer discounted gas prices. If you sign up to use their customer reward cards, sometimes you can save up to 20 cents per gallon. When you are unable to pay off one of your credit cards, then the best policy is to contact the credit card company to work something out. Letting it just go to collections is really bad for your credit score. You will find that most companies will let you pay it off in smaller amounts as long as you don't keep avoiding them. Carefully study all of the small print. If you receive a pre-approved card offer, make sure you understand the full picture. Find out the exact interest rate and the time that rate is in effect for your card. Also, find out about any fees and grace periods. Don't fall into the trap of 0% interest rate and end up suffering later. Due to higher than normal interest rates after the special term is over, do not accept the first credit card offer that you receive, regardless of how good it sounds. While you may be tempted to jump on an offer, you do not want to take any chances that you will end up signing up for a card and then seeing a better deal shortly after from another company. Consider unsolicited credit card offers very carefully before you accept them. If an offer that comes to you looks good, read all the fine print to make sure you understand the time limit for any introductory offers on interest rates. Also, be aware of fees that are required for transferring a balance to the account. Avoid being the victim of credit card fraud by keeping your credit card safe at all times. Pay special attention to your card when you are using it at a store. Double check to make sure you have returned your card to your wallet or purse when the purchase is finished. Keep an eye on your credit cards even if you don't use them very often. If your identity is stolen and you do not regularly monitor your credit card balances, you may not be aware of this. Check your balances at least once a month. If you see any unauthorized uses, report them to your card issuer immediately. Make sure the password and PIN number of your credit card is difficult for anyone to guess. It is a huge mistake to use something like your middle name, date of birth, or the names of your children because this is information that anyone could find out. If you have poor credit and want to repair it, consider a prepaid credit card. This type of credit card can usually be found at your local bank. You can only use the money that you have loaded onto the card, but it is used as a real credit card with payments and statements. By making regular payments, you will be repairing your credit and raising your credit score. Open and go over everything that is sent to your mail or email about your card whenever you get it. Credit card companies are allowed to make certain changes to fees, regular interest rates, and annual membership fees, as long as they give you written notice of the changes. If you don't agree with their changes, it's your decision if you want to cancel your credit card. Never leave blank spots when you sign retail store receipts. If you do not want to leave a tip, make sure to write a 0 or draw a line to indicate no tip is included and nobody can add an amount in. Also, check that your purchase amounts match the amounts on your statement. If you are having a problem getting a credit card, consider a secured account. The secured credit card will require you to open a savings account before a card is issued. If you ever default on a payment, the money from that account will be used to pay off the card and any late fees. This is a good way to begin establishing credit, so that you have opportunities to get better cards in the future. Periodically, you should contact the company that issued your credit card and ask them about a reduction on your interest rates. There may be some companies that could reduce the interest rates they charge if they know that they have a good relationship with their customers. It can end up saving you quite a bit and is not going to cost you anything to ask. Your oldest credit card is the one that affects your credit report the most. Do not close this account unless the cost of keeping it open is too high. If you are paying an annual fee, ridiculous interest rates, or something similar, then close the account. Otherwise, keep that one open, as it can be the most beneficial to your credit score. If you are getting rid of an old credit card, cut up the credit card through the account number. This is especially important if you are cutting up an expired card and your replacement card has the same account number. As an added security step, consider throwing away the pieces in different trash bags so that thieves can't piece the card back together as easily. In order to keep your spending under control, make a record of the purchases that you make with your credit card. If you don't, you can easily forget what you've spent and end up in deep financial trouble. When you are looking over all of the rate and fee information for your credit card, make sure that you know which ones are permanent and which ones may be part of a promotion. You do not want to make the mistake of going for a card with very low rates and then they balloon shortly after. Make sure you know what your interest rate will be with a given credit card. You should never sign up for any credit card without knowing the interest rate. If you take a card with a high interest rate, you could pay 2 or 3 times the cost of your original purchase over time. A higher interest rate will make it more difficult to pay off your debt. Pay at least the minimum payment on time each month to avoid more fees. If you can afford to, pay more than the minimum payment so that you can reduce the interest fees. Just be sure to pay the minimum amount before the due date. It is highly recommended to pay more than the minimum payment each month. If you aren't paying more than the minimum payment, you will never be able to pay down your credit card debt. If you have an emergency, then you could end up using all your available credit. So, each month try to send in a little extra money in order to pay down the debt. Every time you use a credit card, think about the extra expense that it will incur if you don't pay it off immediately. Remember, the price of an item can quickly double if you use credit without paying for it quickly. If you keep this in mind, you are more likely to pay off your credit quickly. Use a credit card to pay for a recurring monthly expense that you already have budgeted for. Then, pay that credit card off each and every month as you pay the bill. Doing this will establish credit with the account, but you don't have to pay any interest if you pay the card off in full each month. Be sure to get assistance if you're in over your head with your credit cards. Try contacting Consumer Credit Counseling Service. This nonprofit organization offers many low or no-cost services to those who need a repayment plan in place to take care of their debt and improve their overall credit. To make sure you select an appropriate credit card based on your needs, determine what you would like to use your credit card rewards for. Many credit cards offer different rewards programs, such as those that give discounts on travel, groceries, gas, or electronics, so pick a card that suits you best. Many companies advertise that you can transfer balances over to them and carry a lower interest rate. This sounds appealing, but you need to carefully consider your options. Think about it. If a company consolidates a higher amount of money onto one card and then the interest rate spikes, you are going to have a hard time making that payment. Know all the terms and conditions and be careful. Know your credit history before applying for new cards. The new card's credit limit and interest rate will depend on how bad or good your credit history is. Avoid any surprises by getting a report on your credit from each of the 3 credit agencies once a year. You can get it free once per year from annualcreditreport.com, a government-sponsored agency. If you ever have a charge on your card that is an error on the credit card company's behalf, you can get the charges taken off. The way you do this is by sending them the date of the bill and what the charge is. You are protected from these things by the Fair Credit Billing Act. Always review your credit card bills and monitor your transactions. If they are offered, mobile alerts can be a great help. If anything questionable activity arises, you can be aware of it instantly. If you do see any unauthorized activity, contact the card issuer immediately. You may even have to notify the police. There are many good aspects to credit cards, such as building good credit and earning rewards. Unfortunately, most people don't use them for these reasons and just focus on buying stuff just because it doesn't feel like it is their own money. Don't fall into this trap. Hopefully this video gives you some good ideas on how to properly use your credit cards.